Welcome back to Renewal Podcast, everybody. I'm your podcast host, Jordan Skiles. This podcast is created to help motivate and inspire you guys, the listener, to renew your mind. We do this whole concept centered around growing and changing in Jesus. Today's message title is You Are the Salt of the Earth. In Matthew 5:13, Jesus says, You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything, except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. Now, you have to understand the historical context behind Jesus saying that we are the salt of the earth. Salt, back in Jesus' days, was used for two primary things, and one of those being flavoring. It was used, and still is to this day, flavoring for food. You know, imagine eating a French fries from McDonald's or something without salt. Like, that's disgusting. There's no flavor in that. It's just like a dried up, bland French fry. And the whole intention of Jesus using this salt reference as and using flavoring in this is that we are intended to serve others through our purpose, to flavor this world and stop making it so bland. Now let me expand on this. You have a special gift. You are one of one. There is only one you, and there has only ever been one you, and there only ever will be one you. God created you for a purpose, and He wants you to use your salt, your special gift that He placed in your life that only you have, to make this world a little bit more flavor. If that makes sense, I hope you're following me. And the second reason that the times of Jesus when He was around that they used salt for was preserving. Now, I actually didn't know this until I started diving deep into this, but before they had refrigerators and everything of that nature, they used salt to keep meat, fish, and different kind of meats and things of that nature to preserve it and to keep it edible for longer times. And so Jesus, when He's referencing us being the salt of the earth, us preserving is we're expected to share the truth of the gospel and to keep the world from decaying. You see, just as salt was used on fish and meat to preserve it, to keep it edible, we are called to use our purpose to keep the world from decaying and to keep the world from rotting out or getting moldy. We are here to preserve it, keep it fresh. And so when I hear these two things, all I hear is purpose, 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 purpose. So listener, I'm asking you, what is your purpose? The two greatest questions you can ask yourself in this life is, who is God and who am I because of God? Because once you know who God is, you know who yourself is, and you know what your purpose for your life is. And this brings me into my next kind of big point, is true north versus magnetic north. I don't know if you know this, but I think we've talked about it before on the podcast, but if you take a compass and go straight magnetic north, you follow the north, straight with a compass, you will actually get a couple degrees off of true magnetic, or of true north. And according to the infamous, famous, brilliant Google, depending on where you're at, it can be anywhere from 0 to 20 degrees off. And so the same thing applies with our purpose. Our magnetic north is our purpose for our life, what we want, what we're trying to strive for. That's not actual purpose for our life and what Jesus wants. But true north is actual dead even 0 degrees right on the money. And that's what God wants for your life. That's the purpose God has for your life. That is true north. That is true purpose. And how do we figure out our purpose in life? It's super simple. One thing. Seek Jesus. Just as I just said that once you know God, you know your purpose. Man, you got to seek Jesus with your full heart. Because once you know Jesus, you know what His intentions and His plans are for your life. But it's also important to note that your purpose changes. It's something I'm going through right now. I feel like my purpose is changing. 6 months ago, my purpose was to lead and to inspire and to be a difference maker. And all those things still apply to my life, but I feel like God is slowly starting to shift my purpose. And God, as we've talked about, God has certain gifts and certain talents that only you and you have. And maybe your gift is teaching. Maybe you're a teacher. Man, do teaching for the glory of God. Teach and lead students in the direction of the Lord. Maybe you're a garbage man. Man, pick up trash for the glory of God. Maybe you worked in a factory. Man, do your job for the glory of God and be a light to others. It doesn't matter what area you're in. Man, do it for the glory of God. And along with seeking with Jesus, you can search up spiritual gift tester on Google and literally find like a bunch of these tests. I'll link one in the description below. The one that I have below has like 66 questions, but it's really, really helpful because there's certain spiritual gifts that the Bible lists, and it helps you outline them and see like, okay, which spiritual gifts do I have? And I'll put up my results right now, but you can see like just how they kind of reflect in my own life. So I really, really encourage you guys to do some of these spiritual gifts testers, do a couple of them, do the one that I linked in the description. It's really, really helpful for finding your purpose. And so before we wrap up here today, I just want to ask you one question. What is your purpose in your life? I love you guys. Thank you guys for everything. As always, remember, if you change your mind, you change your life. Peace.